Ray. Today I'm going to be talking about AC/DC, one of my favorite bands. You've seen one of my first vlogs was the AC/DC, how I got into AC/DC. So I figured I'd elaborate a little bit more and talk about AC/DC a little bit more. A few things before I get into the Power Up review, because that's going to be pretty short and simple. Okay, AC/DC tapes. When I first started collecting the AC/DC tapes in 1986, I had most of all of them, and with anybody who has like cassette tapes, I'm sure there's probably some people that still do, but a lot of people just wind up getting rid of their tapes. I didn't until just 2 or 3 years ago. So I wind up getting rid of a lot of my tapes because I had them on CD, or I'm like, oh, I don't need to hear that. And I could find it on YouTube and all that other stuff. So what I did was I wind up just keeping the covers, and I threw the cassette tapes out. So I had all these covers, and I just still had this kind of nostalgic reason to keep them. And I was like, well, I kind of don't want to really throw these out, but I don't need them. One of those things. So anyways, I made a collage. Here's a couple collage. So those were with ads and stuff from magazines and stuff like that, some magazine pictures. A lot of it was the tape cassettes, the inner sleeves of the CDs, and the DVDs. So some of the pictures and stuff you might recognize. So I just wanted to kind of like have them, but I just didn't want them to, keep gathering room in the holding room. I got rid of the jewel cases because for the most part, those just, after a while, just like with records or anything, they start to weigh a lot. But of course, the records are better. The records are better than tape cassettes, because back in the day when you open a tape cassette, sometimes they're just like a blank piece of paper, a white piece of paper in there, and there's nothing on it. Sometimes it'd have like a panel, like a lot of the AC/DC ones would have like a one panel piece where it would say bass drums, guitar, this, that. Ones in the 80s did like flick of the switch, and then Fly in the Wall did, but not high voltage or Dirty Deeds done dirt cheap. So here was a little bit of footage of when I got the high voltage record in recent years, of course. Their first US release, but High Voltage and TNT were two 1975 albums combined that they did in Australia, for those of you who don't know. And it was really confusing. It was interesting because it was confusing for me, because when I got this and then when I saw the other one, I was like, what? I got TNT on record, which I got rid of, which I wish I never did. But it's the one with the spray paint. It's got wood. It's got all the rocks and dirt. The AC/DC logo is spray painted with stencils on wood. I wish I still had that album. The other things that you do when you discover a band, if you know a band for a long time, you will sometimes nitpick with stuff. Okay, well, why is this on here? Why is this song? Why was this done like that? And of course, and then there's album covers. Album covers were always interesting. Covers were always interesting and unique, and always, they identify an album. You see that album cover, you know what album it is. You know the songs off it, you remember the year and all that other stuff. So I was looking at Dirty Deeds, and of course Dirty Deeds they got in 1987. It came out in 1976, and here's the original cover. You all know what the cover looks like, but here's the original one, the Australian version, for those of you who don't know. Okay, so the remake of it, or the one that was released in America, and they didn't release it until 1981. So after the success of Back in Black, and then they released it in 81, I really didn't know anything about AC/DC. So I didn't know about it. But they released it in 81, and it always intrigued me. I was like, well, okay, where is this? Is this a store in Australia? There's people on it. There's that guy, the businessman, the biker guy, two other ladies, an older lady, and a young guy. And I was just like, okay. And I figured, they blocked off their eyes because then they didn't want people to be like, oh, hey, that's me in the picture. I didn't give you permission to use my picture on an album cover. But anyways, I did some digging, and I found out it was Hipgnosis, or Hips, really strange, odd kind of art company that did illustrations and covers for albums. So they also did Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, and UFO, to name a few of them. So they did a bunch. They did a bunch before Dirty Deeds, and then of course they did a bunch after. So my only guess is that the guys in AC/DC looked at it and said, okay, for the US release, Okay. They never really specified or got into details about it. Anyway, strange album cover, really cool album. It's a good album, like most AC/DC albums. A couple of the songs off of Dirty Deeds, which weren't released, Carry Me Home and I'm a Rebel. Those were recorded for the sessions there. I'm a Rebel wind up being covered by Accept or used by Accept. I'll have to look into that. I have the album, I think. I had it on tape cassette. But once again, it didn't release. I don't think there was anything within the sleeve at all. And of course, Carry Me Home, a lot of you probably heard on Bonfire or Volts. It's on one of those. It's on one of the other AC/DC box sets or extra CDs. The thing about it is, when they did songs or release songs, they didn't really, they used up most of all their stuff. So speaking of stuff, now we're back up to 81. Okay, so in 1981, after Back in Black was released, so we're going to backpedal here a little bit. Before it was released, the articles I read, for those of you who don't know, maybe some of you will know this, but Bon Scott really had nothing to do with the writing of any of the lyrics on Back in Black. You heard some of the riffs, you heard Hell's Bells and then Back in Black, and they were working on this stuff. And they spent 2 or 3 days, several times working on this stuff. But here's one other interesting fact of AC/DC that I didn't know, considering I've been a fan for such a long time. I figured I would have known this. But Bon Scott, who was a drummer before, or Malcolm, would sometimes get behind a drum set and play a couple things that I did not know. And the really ironic part was when I used up all the tape covers for the collage, within like 2 weeks, then I saw this picture. Did this collage thing, and here's this whole thing where you can order the tape cassettes all in one bunch, in one package deal. I very rarely do this because I don't promote anything. I'm not monetized or anything. With most of my music, it gets demonetized anyways, which I don't even have 1,000 subscribers yet, so it really doesn't matter. Just to let you know, this behind me is not AC/DC wallpaper or whatever. It's AC/DC wrapping paper, or it's not a poster. It looks like it could be a poster or something. That's AC/DC wrapping paper, and you could get it at the AC/DC store, the official AC/DC website. It's in March right now, so I don't know if they'll have it. But it's wrapping paper. Christmas is over, but for birthdays or whatever, this is available, and I think at the AC/DC store. Here's a screenshot of it. It cost me like $20 to buy it, and then like $7 or $8 for shipping and handling. So it's like $28 for just like one roll of wrapping paper. Pretty expensive wrapping paper, but this is very rare. I doubt that you'll find this at the dollar store anywhere. And of course, I probably would have been more irritated, but really happy if I did find it at the dollar store, you know, within a month or two or several weeks after I ordered it. Because the fact that it's, yeah, it's a really rare item. So that's why I paid the $28 for it. I'm like, wow, that would make a good, cool background. AC/DC wrapping paper. So they have a few different designs. This was the best one, I thought, the new album. And it's expensive. You feel like buying expensive wrapping paper and you want to put this on your wall or something? Feel free to do it. Okay, so on to the Power Up review. Okay, so Power Up. It's really interesting. Second album without Malcolm. It has Phil Rudd, has Cliff Williams, Brian Johnson, you know the whole thing. It's really good. I like it. I liked Stiff Upper Lip a lot. That was the last album I really liked by then. Black Ice was pretty good. Rock or Bust, I really wasn't wild about. But with Power Up, I've had it in my car since November. I've been listening to it for like 2 or 3 months straight. I just threw it in my CD player, so I kind of, forced myself to listen to it and said, okay, really give these songs a chance and stuff. There's some cool songs on there. Witch's Spell. So my favorite songs are Shot in the Dark, Witch's Spell, No Man's Land, and Code Red. And I like most of all the songs off it, with the exception of probably like one that's okay. Anyways, I waited a while. They started recording this in 2018. It took them like way over a year to record it. It started late 2018, recording in 19, and they were finished probably sometime like in spring or something, or early summer of 2020. And they just waited until November. I don't know why, but bands will sometimes do that. Anyways, it doesn't matter how long the wait was. It's number one. Here's a little clip of that. Number one country in 21 albums. Number one country in 21 albums. Holy shit. I gotta put that in the freaking blooper reel. Okay. The number one album in 20 countries. Here's that little clip of that. That's awesome. Congratulations to him. I guess the wait, it doesn't matter if it's AC/DC. It's worth the wait. It's worth waiting for. Sometimes that's too long. But, I don't know. This could be their last album. Hopefully not. Probably no. It might be. Anyways, thanks for watching. Once again, like, comment, subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.